Hello everyone, welcome to a World of Warship Blitz video. Today's video is the second of the series of what I would describe as difficult premiums. So this is modelled off videos I've seen, 5 best premiums, 5 worst premiums, 5 best tech tree ships and things like that. Now, I've in World of Warship Blitz, I don't think there are any premiums that are as shocking as what has been described in the PC. So I think everything sort of has a bit of a place, but some of them are what I'd probably describe as more disappointing. So the second in the series is the Tier 8 Premium Battleship, the Tirpitz. And the reason that it's such a difficult ship is that it falls so badly outside the meta. So when I first got this, there were 4 battleships. I think there was Bismarck, there was North Carolina, there was the Amagi, and there was the Tirpitz, which was the sole premium. Now since that time, a whole lot of other premiums have arrived, and some extra tech tree ships, such as the Monarch and the Gascon. All of these have sort of pushed the Bismarck and the Tirpitz into a bit of a corner, and that corner is that they're brawlers in a game that doesn't reward brawling. So the dispersion on these ships at range is actually quite bad. In this battle we're doing pretty good actually, but but generally these ships are not rewarded by the normal gameplay. So now the problem is that of the two, the Bismarck and the Tirpitz sort of gets it worse, because the Bismarck, well, you can get the dispersion improvement as the in the first slot. You can of course use the precise aim, which helps, and the historical camo helps a little bit again because it has a dispersion improvement. For the Tirpitz, that's not the case. The historical camo actually improves the range of your secondaries, which can be quite interesting because those secondaries, as you'll see in a second, can reach out to about 8 kilometers, which can really surprise ships. But at 8 kilometers, they're not doing the sort of damage that actually really makes them into the ferocious sort of concern that that would keep your enemies awake at night. So generally the ship often finds itself in games where it's not rewarded for the sort of play style that it does best, and ends up fighting in a play style that really challenges the basics of the ship. So the Tirpitz, great historical ship, but in the game, challenged. Now in saying that, I have had some phenomenal games, although not recently, and I think the more ships that come out that like the Alabama, the Richelieu, the Roma, even the Monarch, that challenge that change the meta to more of a sniping game, the more that the Tirpitz struggles. So I have had some phenomenal games in the past, some amazing smashing brawling games, and it's worth playing those. It's really good when you do get those games, and probably the best. It's had probably the best game I've ever had. I've had in the Tirpitz as well, and that was a ranked battle where we managed to convince the other players to grab their Bismarcks and grab their Tirpitzes, because we were up against. We were losing battle after battle because, of course, being a group of mostly randoms against these fleets, we really didn't stand a chance. So we managed to convince enough people to play Bismarcks and Tirpitzes and heavy cruisers, and we just went down through the middle and at full speed. I didn't last long in the game, but it was probably one of the best games that I've had because it really broke the enemy apart. It was quite a different tactic. They weren't expecting it. They were setting up to snipe, and they got smashed by these really close range brawling ships that came through in such mass that they really had no capability to hold them back. And I think that was a narrow, I can't remember the result. I think it was either a narrow loss or a narrow win. But here we are. We are up against a a destroyer and a North Carolina. Now that North Carolina obviously is a nice and suitable target for the Bismarck, but that destroyer, the Tirpitz is not agile. So it does have that phenomenal, that secondary range. It's fast, but it's just not agile. But in saying that, its secondary range is pretty effective, and that I don't think that little destroyer was really expecting just that sort of welcome. Normally they get away with it a little bit more, but we had switched to HE, which I think was one surprise. And the second surprise for him was that I think the secondaries hit him a lot sooner than he expected, and he didn't really know how to deal with it. He'd already let loose his torpedoes. He had released his smoke, and he really had nothing left in the pot. So, and here we are. We're going up against this North Carolina, a Frederick de Grosser, and a Tirpitz up against the North Carolina at medium range. There's only one way that's going to turn out. The Tirpitz does survive, and the Bismarck, for that matter, does survive enemy fire better at closer range. Unfortunately, that's only gunfire. Torpedo fire, short range is a real problem. So not agile, but no battleship is. Very slow acceleration, so it's very hard to reposition, and when you're in full flight, it can be very difficult to change direction. But the real issue is that the guns just, they let you down at range, and the Tirpitz more so than the Bismarck. Long range secondaries are nice. The torpedoes, I've got to admit that I actually prefer the Bismarck because it doesn't have the torpedoes. And the reason for that is that the torpedoes really throw off your aim, and you use them very rarely. And when you have to adjust to fire your torpedoes in the Tirpitz, your guns go off target, and you actually lose valuable seconds putting them back on target. So the Tirpitz, for my money, is I like having it. I'm glad I got it, but it's not a ship that I play very often. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you for ship number 3.